and I'm excited to talk to all of you, and I appreciate everyone joining this Ask SAP community call. And just wanted to share a brief message with you, especially given I may lose cell phone service here at any moment in time. The suspense is killing me. But just a brief message with you. Number one, about our business intelligence vision going forward and how excited I am about not just where we are, but where we're going. We have been working night and day on how SAP is going to continue to deliver the best business analytics experience across the board for the biggest of the big companies and the smallest of the small, as well as the individual business user. How are we going to deliver the best experience? Whether that's reporting or dashboarding or analytics or it's data discovery or visualization or EPM or GRC. An incredibly broad range of topics, and we are totally focused on delivering the best experience, but also an end-to-end experience as well, which leads me to my point on innovation here at SAP. You know, we've got a tremendous amount of technology and innovation coming out. What you've seen lately with SAP Lumira, for example, I think is outstanding, and that's in large part thanks to the feedback and input we've received from many of you. Things, technology and solutions like infographics, for example, something that Lumira offers as a unique standalone capability, which I absolutely love. And it tells me that when we launch capabilities like infographics embedded in our analytics and visualization tools, it tells me that we're in touch with what people want and how people work. And you know, I always look at my own day-to-day life of using one of our BI tools, and what do I do after I analyze data? Well, then I end up cutting and pasting it into a PowerPoint to show to the board or show to another colleague here at SAP. And what I've loved with Lumira is it's made me more productive, just being able to pull data, put it in the same BI tool in an infographics, compelling visualization or visual format, and then not have to do all that extra work in PowerPoint. So just little things like that tells me that we're on the right track, we're in touch, and we're headed the right direction. But there's obviously a lot of work to do. We also have some incredible solutions coming out in the cloud, like our FP&A on demand solution, which will give people the ability to do HANA-based, 100% in the cloud, financial planning and analysis, which I think is just absolutely outstanding as well. There's a long list of innovations across all of our analytics categories. And I want to end my opening comments with a thank you, because I believe that any innovation that we have on our roadmap, anything that we've delivered, or more importantly, what is planned in the coming months, much of which I would love to share with you, but I've been told I have to wait for Tech Ed and Decode. But very excited about it, but nonetheless, it is because of you, the community, the input and guidance and feedback that you provide us that enables SAP to deliver a great end-to-end customer experience. And also a lot of the ideas and things that we're delivering on right now come from you, and we want to continue to hear from you. We're greatly appreciative of everything that you do for us, and I will turn it back over to the team here so we can continue on with the call.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I'd like to welcome everyone again to the SAP Analytics Innovations Community Call. I know you're all here today to hear about the SAP BusinessObjects BI and Strategy Roadmap. Today, you've already heard from Steve Lucas, and for coming up, you're going to be hearing from Jane Landry, who's the Global VP and General Manager of Business Intelligence at SAP. None other than the very famous Ty Miller, Vice President of SAP Lumira Product Management at SAP. Blair Whedon, the General Manager of Business Intelligence for SAP Application Landscape. And my name is Greg Myers. I work for AV Technologies, and I'm here today as your moderator and as a representative member of the SAP Mentor Program. So this call series was set up, this is a quarterly series that's happening. There are still more coming. It's meant to give you out there, the community, a chance to get your questions answered and to hear information from SAP in an interactive type session. So they each are live. They're about 90 minutes long. If you have questions, you can either put them in the question and answer panel in the webcast, or you can tweet them to us. Make sure you use the hashtag #AskSAP, and we'll try to get to as many questions as possible. So for today's topic for the BI strategy and roadmap, we're going to cover 4 main topic areas. So the first area is going to be analytics solutions from SAP, so our vision and strategy. The second topic will be simplifying the end user experience. So this will cover the convergence of the BI portfolio use cases. The third topic are going to be innovations with SAP's technology stack, innovation without disruption. And we'll wrap things up by talking about simplifying software consumptions, analytic solutions from SAP in the cloud. So without further ado, I would like to turn this over to Jane Landry. Jane?
Thanks very much, Greg. And thanks to everyone who joined today's call. I think we've got almost 2,000 people joining us today. So thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us to talk about what we're doing around analytics. And as Greg mentioned, we do want to make this a really interactive session. So put those questions in. We'll be answering questions as we go along. So I'm going to start off by covering the first two topics, which is our overall vision for analytics, as well as our convergence and simplification strategy. So starting first with the overall solution portfolio and what we offer in the market today. For me, there's really two key factors that are continuing to drive demand for analytics in the market. And analytics continues to outperform the overall software market in terms of growth, growing overall at about 8 or 9% a year. So it's a growth market, and the reason for that is really because of these two key factors. The first is on the data side of things, and just the amount of data in the world is now doubling every 12 to 18 months. And increasingly, organizations are needing to get a handle on not only the information within their organization, but the information that's outside as well, whether it's your customers and what they're saying on Twitter, or your suppliers and getting an end-to-end view of your business by understanding how they can deliver products and services to you. So we're seeing this growth of data. And for us, it's really important that we have a BI solution that can support any data. In fact, we now support more data sources than ever before, over 140 different data sources. And that's something that you'll see us continue to do, is have this very open and agnostic approach to the data that we support there. The second major trend that we're seeing is around people and people's expectations. And today, almost everyone has not one but multiple mobile devices. I picked up my daughter from daycare last night, and she asked if she could get an iPod. And I said, "What would you do with it?" And she said, "Well, I want to listen to music, and I want to play games." And I thought, our expectations have changed. We expect to have instant access to information on mobile devices, and we're taking these expectations into our workplaces as well, and yet the reality is less than 10% of us have access to information today to make decisions and do our jobs and access to analytics. Now that trend's expected to change pretty dramatically over the next few years, and Gartner's predicting that by 2020, 75% of us will demand access to this type of information. So it's no surprise that analytics remains a #1 priority for CIOs, and IT continues to be a primary purchaser of analytics solutions, accounting for about 70% of analytics purchases. But we're also seeing increasing adoption by line of business users, and your business users within your organization are out there, they're using their credit cards, and they're buying analytics solutions and bringing them into the organization because they want answers now and they're not prepared to wait. And this has really led to the rise of agile visualization and data discovery, but it's also created some challenges for the business. Many of the agile visualization solutions that are out there provide the agility for end users, but they compromise trust for the business. And we're now starting to see solutions running rogue, and 12 to 18 months later, IT being asked to pick up the pieces. So in terms of the portfolio for SAP, we really see three key pieces to the puzzle. The first is having an enterprise business intelligence foundation that's going to be able to grow as your business needs grow, and that it's a complete solution that can cover all of your BI needs now and in the future. The second piece is providing that agility for those end users, but doing so with trust, so that you can provide agility, people can go and do their work, but then they can make sure that it's tied in with governance and security, so that when you come to a meeting, we don't have 5 different answers coming into the room and people are arguing over what is the right answer versus coming to a decision for the organization. And the third thing is that you not only need insight, but you also need foresight to be able to see not what what's been happening in the rearview mirror, but also be able to look through the windshield and see what's going to happen moving forward. And in that way, you can really look to optimize your business and really drive competitive advantage. And this is where advanced analytics comes in. And this is an area that I think is really ripe for disruption in the market, because to date, this area has really been in the hands of a few data scientists within an organization, if you're lucky enough to have a data scientist in your company. And so the way that we see this, this field evolving is by providing those analytics capabilities, those advanced predictions and advanced analytics capabilities to a broader set of users, but in a way that's going to make sense for them to be able to take advantage of them. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. And of course, this portfolio of solutions needs to consume data wherever it may be, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet through to a corporate database to a Twitter feed. It needs to be available to be deployed on-premise or in the cloud and on any device. You need to have that trust piece that I mentioned, and people need to be able to collaborate, and it needs to have that social aspect to it, because it's a combination of data and people coming together to make a decision. And so as we think about how we deliver this and what our vision is, we've got a concept that we're calling collective insight. But what it really is about how do you enable everyone within an organization to be able to contribute to the collective knowledge of the company, and everyone to be able to take advantage of that collective wisdom. And a good analogy here would be the world of encyclopedias. We used to have Encyclopedia Britannica, and if you're lucky enough, you had it in your home, and it took up a whole shelf of your bookshelf. And once a year, you'd get another volume that would give you the latest and greatest updates, or you'd go to the library and you'd get the latest Encyclopedia Britannica information there. And it had a reasonable amount of information and a small amount of information on each topic. Well, fast forward now to today, where we have Wikipedia, which has more topics than ever before. It has depth of knowledge more than ever before. Everyone's able to contribute to the information, and everyone can consume and take advantage of that information. And interestingly, it's even more accurate than what we ever had with those paper versions. So we believe we can look to do the same thing with BI and analytics, and really provide a solution set that enables everyone to contribute to the knowledge of the organization and everyone to be able to benefit from the results. And the key to this is really focusing in on simplifying the user experience and focusing in on the personas in the organization, the people in the organization, and how they work together. So as we've been going through this idea of how to run simple, this is really happening across SAP right now. Bill McDermott announced that SAP, our focus is around running simple. And on the BI side of things, we'd already started to take steps in this area. We'd heard from you, the community, that you wanted to see fewer BI tools. And so we started looking at how we could actually achieve this. And it's a delicate balance, because everyone wants fewer tools until it could be their tool that's the one that's not moving forward. So we wanted to really start by looking at what's worked in the past and what's not worked well, and learn from that and develop a philosophy around BI convergence and simplification. And so we sat down in about December last year, and we started doing that. And we looked at examples of what had worked. And I think a great example of that is when we went from UNV universes to UNX universes. And you could open your UNV universe, save it as a UNX universe, and then start to take advantage of all the new capabilities from there. So that was an example of something that was really nice and seamless, and we'd like to look to do wherever we can. We also looked at situations that took us a long time to achieve the results that we wanted. And an example there would be when we went from desktop intelligence to web intelligence, where we wanted to try and bring all the features of Desky into Webby, and it took us a long time to get there. And we did things like did not support desktop intelligence documents anymore on the platform, and customers had pain with that. And so we didn't want to repeat some of those challenges that we'd put you through before. We wanted to learn from that and really look at how we could do things better as we move forward. And so here are some of the key lessons that we learned that we're looking at in terms of a framework for how we simplify the portfolio moving forward. The first is that we'll look to focus on use cases. We'll focus on the analyst, the decision maker, the administrator and the designer and developer and look at the workflows between these folks and focus on the use case that you're trying to solve, and then look at how we deliver that within the product. The second thing that I think is really important is all existing content is safe. We learned from Desky to never expire content, and now with the 4.1 release, your Desky documents can live right alongside all of your other BI content. So everything that you've developed and built to date will continue forward. It will continue to be managed and you can continue to use it. And then further to that, all of the BI 4.1 clients today will continue to be maintained and supported. So you've got a perpetual license, you can use that into perpetuity and continue to develop out what you need to serve the needs of your business. And we will provide bridges where we can from what you're using today to what we recommend you use moving forward. So an example here would be we're using metadata so that you can use that to adopt the new concepts. And last but certainly not least, we will not force migration. So if you're happy where you are, you can stay where you are and continue to use the content and the tools that you're using today. So with that as a framework, now let's turn our attention. I mentioned personas and how we were thinking about people and how they work together. And we're really focusing in here on a few key folks. So firstly, we've got our decision makers, and often these folks are sitting in the lines of business and they have a question that's come up around the business. And often the first place that they'll turn to will be their business analyst and say, hey, I've got this question about my business, can you go and help me find the answer? And so the analyst will then go and try and find the information. And sometimes that information is in enterprise data sources. Other times it can be in spreadsheets. And they'll do work to mash and munge and merge that data to get an answer to that specific business question. They'll go back to the decision maker. They may iterate a couple of times, and then it may just stop there. It may be answered. But sometimes that question is a question that other people in the organization are asking as well. And if it is a common question, often that work is then handed over to a designer or developer to turn into more of a business application that can be rolled out right throughout the organization so that everyone can benefit from that information. And so that's where the role of the designer and developer comes in. And they have more skills around being able to use development tools to actually create a solution that's going to be systematic and really solve a problem in a sustainable way, rather than an ad hoc question that the business analyst tends to get asked. And then we've got the administrator who's responsible for setting up the system that's going to support that for all of the users. And so we've been thinking about these different users within the organization and how they need to interact with one another to actually get to the right decision for the business and the right answer for the business. So now I'd like to open up our first poll of the day and ask you, what type of BI user are you? Are you a decision maker who is a business user for whom BI is one of the decision-making tools amongst others? Are you a business analyst? So you're working for those business users and using business intelligence as a primary part of your daily work. Are you a designer or a developer, an IT user that's actually creating those solutions that can be used right across the organization for decision makers to consume? Or are you an administrator that implements and maintains the BI system to support the analysts, decision makers, and the designers? And we'll publish that so we can see that actually we've got a nice mix here on the call today. So we've got quite a number of you are designers or developers where you're developing solutions for your whole organization. And quite a few are on the IT side as well, actually supporting the BI system for your whole organization. Now that we've understood a little bit about the personas and how they're interoperating, let's now look at how we're looking to simplify the portfolio. And I published a blog a couple of months ago which covered this, so feel free to also refer to that if you want more information on this. But the question that normally comes up after we'd published this and shared a little bit of information was, so how are you going to do this and when are you going to do this? So let's start first with the how we're going to simplify the portfolio, and then I'll get into more detail on each of the steps around this. So on the left here, we've got all of the BI clients that are available in the market today. And the first area is the area of reporting. And operational reporting is still a fundamental business intelligence need, and it's an area that a lot of the data discovery vendors do not cover at all. And we often see that when you've got your data together, the first thing that you're going to get asked for is going to be reports. And here we've got two of the leading reporting solutions available in the market today with Crystal Reports and Web Intelligence. And we have literally hundreds of thousands of people using Crystal Reports today. There's still to this day over 800,000 downloads of Crystal Reports a year, and it's a fantastic tool for pixel-perfect operational reporting. And then we also have Web Intelligence, which I talk about as almost like the Swiss Army knife of BI. I've seen it used for reporting and ad hoc analysis and all sorts of amazing things. And again, we've got hundreds of thousands of users using Web Intelligence today. And so both of those solutions will continue on, and you'll continue to see us deliver incremental improvements with Crystal Reports and Web Intelligence with coming releases. And in addition to that, your desktop intelligence, while the product itself has reached end of life, we continue to support desktop intelligence content. So you can manage that on the BI platform alongside your Crystal Reports and your Web Intelligence documents. Now the second area is in this area of discovery and analysis. And here we have a really great opportunity to converge the experiences that we have available today. As I mentioned, it's not only important to have insight, but also be able to have foresight. And it's an area that is in the handful of a few users today. We want to make predictive capabilities more available to a broader set of users. So I'm not suggesting that all of us will be able to write R tomorrow, but what I am suggesting is that a business analyst should be able to take the results of a predictive model and be able to share that with a decision maker in a way that makes sense. So we're providing simple algorithms behind the scenes in SAP Lumira. So for example, today within the product, you'll see a little light bulb. And if you click on that, it'll give you some starting suggestions of what might be relevant to you within the data. It'll give you some really rich visualizations of what that data represents. So it provides that starting point. And behind the scenes, we're actually using some predictive algorithms to generate those visualizations for you. So a way that's really consumable for a business analyst or an end user. And then coming into Lumira as well for the experience, we're looking to bring together the Explore functionality that you have today so that end users can actually search using natural language search that they have access to in a way that's going to make sense for them. Being able to provide set-like capabilities, so you can define a term like customer and group a set of some data based on that set that you create. And we also want to support not only relational data, but OLAP data sources as well. So respecting those hierarchies that are there in the parent-child relationships and being able to visualize those as well. The next area is the area of dashboarding and applications. And here we've been pretty clear. About 27 months ago now, we released a statement of direction that said that we would bring together Design Studio and SAP Dashboards or Excelsius into the Design Studio solution. And we knew we had to do something there. Dashboards or Excelsius was built on Flash, and that wasn't moving forward. And we'd also heard that Excelsius wasn't the most scalable product in the world. And so we'd seen some really good performance with Design Studio in terms of scalability. And we wanted to then bring the visualization capabilities of dashboards into that Design Studio experience. And we've made some good progress there, and we'll continue to progress that moving forward. And then the last area is the area of office integration. Many folks just live in office. That's the place that they go to live and work. And so we want to bring these analysis capabilities right into the hands of those business users and those business analysts right within Office. And so here we have the opportunity to bring the analysis for Office solution together with Live Office and BI widgets into a single experience there. So let's now go through this in a few more steps, because the next question that comes up is, okay, how are you going to do this and when are you going to do this? So in terms of the first step of our convergence plan, the first thing that you'll start to see happen is the Dashboards Design Studio piece will continue to move forward. We'll continue to bring those fine-grained controls of Excelsius into the Design Studio experience. To date, we've brought in some of the charts and visualizations. We've brought in universe connectivity, and we've also provided an SDK. And we'll continue to bring in those fine-grained Excelsius controls into the Design Studio experience, which is really targeted at a designer or developer. Now, for the business analyst, there was also some Excelsius pieces there, like what-if analysis. Now that's more of an analyst use case, and so you'll see what-if analysis move into Lumira as we move forward. The second thing that's going to happen in the first step is the Explorer-like capabilities will move into the core Lumira experience. So Lumira is really designed, firstly with that business analyst in mind, capabilities to mash and merge data, create rich visualizations, and then share them very quickly with an end user. And then the end user will consume not only the visualizations, but today you can take that Lumira data set and publish it to Explorer. Now we'll turn that around and bring those Explorer capabilities right within Lumira. And what we expect is that as we bring these capabilities in, look at Lumira for your next project and see if that now meets all of your needs there. So keep your existing exploration spaces and environment going and provide users with access to that. And then for that next project, keep a track of what we're doing with Lumira. We're releasing every 6 to 8 weeks and see if it's right for you for that next project. The second step in the plan is to start to look at the interoperability between the tools. And this is really key because of that workflow that I talked about between the analyst, the end user, and the designer or developer. And so here you'll start to see us do things like, once the analyst has created that storyboard, if it is something that's going to be useful to the rest of the organization, be able to hand that over to a designer or developer for them to use it as a starting point for a Design Studio application. Well, similarly, if the designer or developer has something that they've started with, to be able to bring those components directly into Lumira to be able to iterate and prototype and do those types of things as you're looking to develop that application. And then we'll also look to bring the live office capabilities into the core experience as well. So to be able to take a Lumira chart or story and bring that into PowerPoint and have all of that really rich interactivity. And then the third and the final step is where we'll start to look at the set analysis capabilities and analysis for OLAP capabilities. So being able to bring sets into Lumira and define custom sets or groupings, and to be able to support not only the relational data, but that hierarchical or OLAP data, and support the parent-child relationships within your visualizations and in your stories as well. And so if you're using analysis for OLAP today, continue to use analysis for OLAP. And as we make progress, again, keep a track on what we're doing, and then we'll get to the point where Lumira will be right for you for that next project. So that's the steps in terms of the how. The next question is when. Well, you'll start to see us invoke step 1 coming in 2015, and then the other steps will follow from there. And so with that, I'd now like to hand back to Greg, and I think we're going to try and take a few questions.
We are. Thanks, Jane. They're actually stacking up here, so let's get to them. So the first question from the audience, how does the SAP BI portfolio compare with data discovery tools?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I think some of the data discovery tools do one thing, which is data discovery, but they don't offer what I would consider the full scope of business intelligence needs, which is the ability to do reporting, the ability to do discovery analysis, and the ability to not only look at what's happened historically, but also be able to look forward and provide that foresight with the predictive capabilities as well. And so I think when you look at the SAP portfolio, we can solve all of those needs and then go beyond it as well. Part of having a robust business intelligence solution is having trusted data, and that means being able to take those agile visualizations and then tie them back into a BI framework that is secure and scalable and that can be trusted to be able to do data integration and data quality, and we can provide that full solution for organizations.
All right, thank you. All right, next one. Why do we envision two tools, SAP Lumira and SAP BusinessObjects Design Studio, to meet the needs of agile visualization and dashboard applications, while Tableau and other data discovery competitors position on single tools?
Yeah, well, you'll see the portfolio coming together as one solution, which actually will take us right into the pricing topic, actually, on pricing and licensing. So we deliver this as one solution called the BI Suite. And the reason that we've done that is so that you can take advantage of everything that we have to offer. And the reason that it's two experiences is back to the personas. We have the business analyst as a core persona who's doing that initial work to answer those ad hoc questions for the business. And they want an experience that's going to be right for them, that's simple to mash and merge data and quickly get an answer. When you hand that over to a developer or designer, they've got additional skills to be able to do programming. Now, we didn't want to put programming or R regressions or any of those things to an analyst. It's just not going to be an appropriate experience. So we want to have that interoperability where that analyst can then hand that work over to the designer or developer. They can then do whatever coding they need to create an actual rich application that they can deliver to the business. So for two experiences, but then you've got that tight interoperability between the two of them.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, and I think one more question then before we proceed on with the next segment then is SAP planning to make SAP HANA a requirement for SAP BusinessObjects BI platform similar to SAP Lumira Server?
Right, so I think the question there is, why HANA? So, one of the reasons that we chose HANA for Lumira Server was because it can do things that other in-memory solutions just cannot do. And when we looked at some of the use cases and the fact that we wanted to have a solution that would really work for an enterprise and the volumes of data that we're now starting to see, HANA was definitely the right choice. It provides the ability to do analysis that we've not been able to do before. Things that used to take weeks, we can literally now do in a matter of seconds. So that's the reason that we chose HANA, because of what it can do for organizations in terms of deliver competitive advantage and in terms of solving use cases that couldn't have been solved before. And we've also delivered that with Lumira Cloud. So when you take advantage of Lumira Cloud, it's HANA under the covers so that we can bring the power of that HANA engine even to the smallest organization or just a few people within an organization. But we have heard from the community that you'd also like a small on-premise solution. And so that's the piece we're going to tackle next. And when Ty gets into his section, he'll share with you what we're doing in that area as well. And so with that, I think maybe, Greg, I'll move on to the nice segue on the pricing and licensing, and then we can hand over to Ty. So not only are we simplifying on the product portfolio, but we're simplifying on the pricing model as well. So previously, prior to Q3, you'd purchase the BI Suite based on named users or concurrent sessions, and that was to view content. And then we also had additional named user licenses to author content. And that worked well where you had a clear delineation between the desktop experience and the viewing experience, like you do with Crystal Reports or Design Studio. However, with tools like Webby, where you can view but you can also do ad hoc analysis, what's authoring and what's viewing? That line got a bit gray. So what we've done with the pricing that is available right now today is we've simplified this model. And when you move to the new pricing model, you can take your named users and provide access to both view and author content, and your concurrent sessions do as well. So if you're using a strict desktop tool like Crystal Reports, that's obviously only available in a named user model. But as soon as you go to share that, if you need to do additional analysis, you can do that using either named or concurrent sessions. So that's one thing that we've done. We also offer one complete package with the BI Suite. And the reason that we've done that is that we really want to bring you on this journey with us. As we work to simplify the BI portfolio, we want to make sure you have access to all of the latest innovations. So the BI Suite includes Lumira Desktop, it includes Lumira Server, and it includes a runtime license of HANA for the purpose of running Lumira Server. So in one solution, you have everything you need to take advantage of reporting, dashboarding applications, and agile visualizations with Lumira. So with that, Greg, I hand back to you, and we can move forward with the next topic, the next section.
All right. Thank you very much, Jane. And let me please encourage everyone, keep those questions coming in. We see them flooding in. We're going to get to as many as possible. It's now my honor to turn this over to Ty Miller to talk about innovations with SAP's technology stack. Ty?
All right, thank you very much, Greg, and hello, everyone. Innovations with the technology stack. As we have been describing for the past several years now, our biggest focus SAP-wide, and even in particular with analytics and business intelligence, is that we want to be able to innovate without disrupting the significant investments that our ecosystem, our customers, our partners have made with our business intelligence solutions. And so we need to be able to provide trusted data discovery against multiple types of data sources on multiple platforms. So whether that is enterprise BI or agile visualization or advanced analytics, we need to be able to innovate on top of our existing platform of the SAP BusinessObjects BI platform, but we also want to take advantage of the new platforms that become available to us, like HANA as well. And so the idea of the client simplification and the technology simplification is really this idea of innovation without disruption, where we don't end-of-life products, but we move the capabilities that you have available in older products to new capabilities and new platforms that we can make that available in. And so when it comes to the BI platform in particular, and with enterprise BI that's on that, with BI 4.1, there's a number of things that we've done that really highlight that. And so one example is mobile. In all of the content that you create today in the BI suite, whether it's a Webby document or an Excelsius dashboard, a Design Studio application, Lumira document, you name it, all of that is available through the mobile BI application. Even things like analysis for Office and analysis for OLAP, with a simple one click of the button to Design Studio, you have available that content as a mobile application. And another example is with BI in the cloud. We have multiple scenarios that we support cloud as a platform, whether it's software as a service or infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and I'll get into a little bit more details on that in a minute. But what we're essentially trying to do here again is to make sure that we can innovate while allowing you to leverage the existing investments that you've made in your universes, in your BEX queries, in your documents, your reports, your dashboards, and take advantage of the new features that are made available with that as well. Another indication of where we're innovating without disruption is with our rapid innovation solutions. By pre-packaging content and assets together and making those available so you can get up and running quickly, this is, again, the essence behind innovation without disruption. And when you talk about the platform in itself, we know that we need to make that lower cost, easier to deploy, easier to maintain, easier to manage. And so reduced total cost of ownership is really embodied in our recent capability enhancements to that platform around parallel patching and being able to update your BI platform without having to bring it down. And so these are the types of things that really make it an important investment, something that you can rely on and continue moving forward with. Another great example of the innovation without disruption is the DESKI compatibility pack. As Jane noted, we learned a number of lessons when we've been in our efforts to convince you of the value of web intelligence as opposed to DESKI, but recognizing now that with the significant investment in DESKI, we can't just forget about it. We need to bring that forward with the investments that you've made already with it. And so you'll see that we're doing that same type of thing in some other areas as well that I'll allude to in just a minute. So that's with 4.1 today. Now, what are we doing with that enterprise BI, those enterprise BI capabilities as we move forward? And so essentially we continue to build upon the ease of deployment and update capabilities for that BI platform around installation and patching. So there are a number of initiatives around the parallel patching process and the lifecycle management of that BI platform to make it even more performant and more and simpler. And that simple philosophy is not just around patching and installation, but it's around just the management of that BI platform and making sure that the usage of the content from that platform, whether it's a Lumira document or a Webby document or a Crystal report, that it is simple. The simplification of these capabilities, someone clicked on my slide here. Let me come back to where we were. The simplification of these capabilities is really probably the most important requirement that we have to really reach the decision makers and the analysts that we know are becoming more and more powerful in that BI ecosystem. It's no longer just the realm of IT and designers that really always have the last say in what happens in a BI environment. The decision makers and analysts are becoming a much more of a force in that BI ecosystem. So we need to make our software easy to use and that they are a beautiful user experience. But we also then need to enhance capabilities for both those business users, the decision makers, and also IT. And that means we need to make sure that the platforms upon which we develop these new experiences, that they have the best performance possible, that they can scale linearly, that we can make it easier for IT organizations to upgrade and migrate and promote the content that has been created both by themselves as well as business users to those new platforms. And that's really what then leads into this idea of trust and governance, is that the data that's being accessed, the content that is created, that the ecosystem within any organization from the business to IT can trust that the information that they're creating is accurate, that people can agree on what the truth is. There may be multiple versions of the truth, but everyone can agree that on the why there are those different versions of the truth. And then lastly is the ability to really extend those BI capabilities to multiple platforms, multiple data sources, integrate and customize these capabilities as well. So an example, with 4.1, with the release of 4.1, we enabled the ability for Web Intelligence to connect directly to a BEX query without having to create a universe. BEX queries are essentially the semantic layer for BW. We didn't want to force people to create another semantic layer on top of those. So we enabled Webby to connect directly to BEX queries. The same thing with Crystal reports and Excelsius dashboards. And this is the philosophy behind the direct connectivity behind Analysis for Office and Design Studio as well. And so that same idea goes for HANA. And so we've started that capability with Crystal Reports for Enterprise, connecting directly to a HANA view without requiring you to create a universe. We have that today with Analysis for Office, Analysis for OLAP, and Design Studio, and we want to do that same thing for Web Intelligence as well. So right now, you need to create a universe against a HANA view, which HANA views are essentially the semantic layer for HANA. That's an extra step that we don't want to have you take. And so you will see the ability to create Webby documents directly against HANA views as well. And as Jane noted, with 4.1, we support now 140 different data sources. It's actually the broadest set of data sources that we've ever connected to. And so we'll be continuing to do that, especially with things around big data, with Hadoop and Hive and NoSQL, whether it's Hortonworks or Cloudera Impala or MongoDB. These are significantly new and important data sources that are really becoming more and more a priority for our customers. And so you'll see that those platforms being supported as well. So then we come to Lumira specifically. And so what are we doing around trusted data discovery and Lumira is our solution to meet those new requirements from those decision makers and analysts. Well, today, as you know, we have essentially 4 experiences for trusted data discovery. There is, from the decision maker or analyst perspective, there is the browser-based access, which can be coming from Lumira Server, which is based on HANA as a platform, or Lumira Cloud. There is the mobile experience, which can be based off of either of those two platforms. And then there's the desktop experience, which is really where the analyst spends most of their time, connecting to data sources, wrangling that data, making it available to their constituents via the platform of Lumira Server or Lumira Cloud. And so today, as Jane noted, that does require HANA. In an on-premise version, that's Lumira Server is an application on HANA. In the cloud, that's Lumira Server, or essentially that's Lumira running on HANA in the cloud. And the way that we provide the trusted data discovery ingredient for this is we also allow you to connect to that BI platform to manage Lumira Server. Now notice that I said we allow you to. We don't require you to adopt the BI platform to use Lumira Server or Lumira Cloud. The option is there for you to use the BI platform, and that is one of these ingredients that allows you this idea of trusted data discovery, because when you connect Lumira Server with the BI platform, you can manage that Lumira Server with the BI platform. You can essentially control that Lumira Server service like you do any other server in the CMC. You can manage users, the authentication, the authorization, and we will continue to build upon that integration as well, so you can have deeper and deeper trusted data discovery scenarios. Now, in that explanation, what is still there today is the need for Lumira Server, the need for HANA. And as Jane mentioned, HANA is a fantastic technology. It's amazing in terms of the performance and the speed at which we can manipulate data and analyze data. But it's also, it can be kind of overkill for some requirements. Not every customer needs a HANA environment as a platform to do data discovery. And so what we're also doing is enabling for you to manage your Lumira desktop deployments with the BI platform. So this is something that we're working on now. This is similar to what we've done for desktop intelligence with the disk compatibility patch. So we want to be able to have you manage your Lumira desktop deployments via the BI platform. Manage who can access the updates to Lumira desktop, manage who can log on to data from the Lumira desktop, and be able to provide, again, that trusted data discovery scenario. Now, what this doesn't meet yet the requirement of is a web-based access to Lumira that does not require HANA. So we're also working on, we recognize the need, let me say this, we recognize the need for a less expensive, lower cost of ownership Lumira server, an on-premise based web delivery of Lumira content. And so we're working on an option to provide this capability as well, where you don't have to have HANA to have web-based delivery of Lumira content. And so I'm not going to get into too many details of this at this point, but just I want everyone to know that we recognize that need. We're working on it, and stay tuned for updates on what we're doing in this area. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Blair to do a demonstration of the types of things that we can do with trusted data discovery and Lumira.
Great, thanks a lot, Ty. Okay, so in this demonstration, I'm going to show how we can access trusted data that's sitting in our universe semantic layer. I'm going to show how we can build a visually appealing storyboard and then publish and share that storyboard out to our information consumers using the BI platform. So let's get started. So we start this workflow in the Lumira desktop, and we start by creating a new document. After we create a new document, we're prompted for a data type connection. So here we select the universe connection type. We log into the system where the universe is hosted. And then we choose the universe that we want to connect to. Next, we can identify the dimensions and measures that we want to choose. So here we can see the list of dimensions and measures that are exposed by that universe. So it's the exact same universe that we're using today with web intelligence and accessing with all of the other solutions in the BI platform. So we can reuse all those semantic definitions and join definitions that have been already created. So after we select the dimensions and measures that are already configured in the universe, we can go on to the next step. We access the data and pull it down into Lumira Desktop. Now we can quickly browse this data, make sure that it looks correct. If I wanted to do any data manipulations here, I could do that. If there was any data quality issues, I could correct those. And you can also see in the top right, there's a new data set button there. So if I wanted to mash this up with any other data sets, for example, Excel or something in a standalone SQL Server database, I could add a new data set and define the joins myself right within Lumira Desktop. But for now, we're just going to move on, and I'm going to take a little shortcut here and open up a Lumira file that already has the same data but has a visualization already created. So this visualization is a heat map, and the problem I'm trying to solve, I'm trying to do some margin analysis. And this heat map visualization shows the relationship between product lines and cities in the organization. And it shows that the highest margin product lines are sweats, and the highest margin city is New York. So we're going to take this visualization, we're going to add a new one. We want to complement this visualization with a new one that we're going to put on our storyboard. So now we've created a new empty visualization. We're going to select a bubble chart for this new visualization. And then we can go through and select margin for the x-axis and the other values for the other axis. So once we've got the chart configured, you can see that we've got revenue on the y-axis, margin on the x-axis. The bubble width is based on the unit quantity that's sold, and each bubble represents a single city. So this is a great visualization to do some margin analysis, because I can quickly see if there's any cities that have a higher margin with lower revenue, and also identify any cities with higher revenue and lower margin. But everything looks pretty linear here, so it doesn't look like there's any outliers in this data set. The next step is to move over to the Compose tab in Lumira Desktop and create a new storyboard. So we're going to create a blank storyboard and assemble a quick dashboard here. On this storyboard, you can see on the left-hand side the visualizations that we've already created. And we can drag and drop those visualizations onto the canvas. After we've dragged and dropped our visualizations, the canvas is starting to take shape. The next step is to go over to the input control section on the bottom left, and we want to add an input control so that we can filter the data by the specific product lines that we want to focus on. So we drag and drop the lines dimension over to the last section of the storyboard, and now we've got our completed storyboard here, including an input control that lets us select product lines. The next step is to publish this to SAP BusinessObjects BI, and the way BusinessObjects BI has been configured is that this is integrating with SAP HANA. So SAP HANA is hosting Lumira Server, but then BusinessObjects BI is storing pointers to those Lumira Server documents, and it's also enabling security for those Lumira Server documents. So the Lumira Server piece is running on HANA, but the BusinessObjects BI piece is acting as the user interface and as the admin interface. So let's publish this over to BusinessObjects BI. We can find the folder we want to publish it to. And then we start the publishing process. After the publishing is complete, we can flip over to the BI Launchpad and just confirm how everything looks. So we log into the BI Launchpad, navigate to the folder where we published our Lumira storyboard, and open it up. So when this is happening, you can see that we're opening it up side by side with other documents and tabs within the BI Launchpad. So you can view your Lumira server documents right beside your existing Webby or Excelsius dashboard or other BusinessObjects BI content. Even though Lumira server is actually running on HANA, and that's where the processing work is happening. So after this storyboard appears, it looks just like it did in Lumira Desktop. So you can see here we've got the filter control, we've got the heat map, and the bubble chart that we added. And if I'm a product line manager that's just focusing on a couple of different product lines, I can filter on those and then drill down into those specific lines. All right. So that completes this demonstration. We're going to turn things back to Greg for the next section, simplifying software consumption.
All right, thank you, Blair. So I guess, do we have time for a couple more questions here first before we press into the last piece? All right. Ty, are you ready for a few questions?
Sure, fire away.
Okay. Is SAP planning to make SAP Lumira Server available for customers not prepared to run SAP HANA yet?
Yes, absolutely. So as I noted just a few minutes ago, we absolutely recognize the need from our customers and the ecosystem in general, that not everyone is prepared to run SAP HANA in the way that it is configured and delivered today. So we're planning to deliver a version of SAP Lumira Server that works with the SAP BusinessObjects BI platform at the same, or even perhaps we're working on even lower total cost of ownership as other data discovery products that currently run, or other clients that run on the BI platform. So this includes both the use of commodity hardware, which is one of the primary stumbling blocks today for HANA consumption, as well as the BI platform for management of data discovery capabilities that really, again, provide that trusted data discovery scenario.
Right, great. And next question, how do the SAP BI strategy and roadmap align with SAP Fiori and UI5?
Great one, yes. So actually, Lumira today already integrates with Fiori and UI5. In fact, there's, as part of the Fiori Launchpad, you can access Lumira content, and from the tiles you can go to specific Lumira visualizations. And so really, Fiori and UI5 are providing our internal BI product teams with a modern and simple set of user experiences and paradigms, as well as technologies that we've been developing over years of research by people that have been dedicated to creating the best user experience possible, and working with SAP user experience experts to create this. And so these new user interfaces really provided by Lumira as well as Design Studio are built using UI5 technology. And so with that then inherently comes integration with Fiori that we've already started and that we're continuing to advance with upcoming releases.
All right, excellent. And one more before we press on to the next section then. What is the SAP BI strategy for the semantic layer?
Yes, great question. So clearly not all the world's data is in HANA or BW. In fact, I would say that a very small percentage of the world's data is in HANA or BW. And so the universe semantic layer is critical for us to be successful in the BI market. And so these universes, they'll continue to be our core enterprise semantic layer that provides connectivity to those 138 data sources and all the variations of them that are not BW and HANA. And so that universe semantic layer it continues to be the user-friendly way to query information and data in familiar business terms. And so as more BI functionality shifts to enabling business users, we really believe that these business semantics need to be increasingly easier, auto-generated, detected by these BI solutions. So for example, with SAP Lumira, we can already automatically detect geography and time and measures. And so ultimately our goal is really to provide IT with the ability to manually author semantics using universes for all of that data that is not in BW and HANA. BEX queries continue to be the semantic layer for BW, and HANA views will continue to evolve as the semantic layer for HANA. And again, this is all with the goal of enabling business users through automatically generated semantics.
All right, thank you very much. So with that then, we'll go ahead and press into the fourth and final section of this. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, all right. So one of the most important scenarios for simplification as well is simplification of the platform. And so one of the best ways to simplify the platform is to adopt cloud technologies. And so when it comes to cloud, there are multiple technologies or platforms, or I should say flavors of cloud. And so that revolves around both software as a service, which is where applications are designed for end users and it's really delivered over the web as a service. And so this is probably the most common form of cloud software that people are familiar with, but it's certainly not the only one. And there are a number of these areas that we're working on that are in addition to that. So one is platform as a service. So this is really where we're bringing the benefits that software as a service has brought to applications, but we're doing it for the development world, where IT and development can build additional applications on the platform to deliver these as tools and services to integrate and enhance and deploy these SaaS applications quickly and efficiently. So that's the second level. Then there's infrastructure as a service, and this is where primarily where we're working with our partners as well. It's the hardware and software that powers these applications, the platforms and the applications built on these platforms. It's the servers, it's the storage, it's the networks, etc. And then lastly, and probably the most closely similar to on-premise software in terms of the sophistication and complexity and how tailored it is to a specific customer environment, is managed cloud as a service. And so this is where you can essentially run your large-scale, mission-critical, and really customized customer-specific applications on top of that infrastructure as a service. And so these are kind of the generic or general descriptions of what these four levels of cloud are. And in terms of the actual applications and technologies that are coming from SAP, when you hear things like HANA Cloud Platform and Lumira Cloud and HANA Enterprise Cloud, this slide is really meant to give you some clarity on how these fit in. So when you hear about Lumira Cloud and SuccessMap and Ariba and Business by Design, these are applications that SAP has developed that are available for consumption as a service. They're delivered as a service to the market. And then many of these are developed on HANA as the platform. So SAP HANA Cloud is an example of a platform as a service. And so the Lumira server running on that HANA platform in the cloud, this is what, and then making that available as in a subscription model, that is Lumira Cloud, right? So SAP HANA Cloud is that example of platform as a service. And then you have other platforms and partners that are creating, they're allowing for both HANA and BI applications to run on their platforms as well. So infrastructure as a service. And this is the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. This is Azure, Rackspace. You're probably familiar with all of these names, but these infrastructure platform providers can run BI4, they can run Lumira Server, they can run HANA. And these are great examples of how we can diversify that platform availability for the ecosystem. And then lastly is the managed cloud as a service. So again, this is, in some ways, my colleague refers to this as white-gloved service. So this is where our customers want SAP to manage everything about their on-premise deployment, but on an SAP-hosted platform. And so this is where we then refer to HANA Enterprise Cloud. And we have customers doing really interesting hybrid deployments of some pieces of BI and or BW or ECC on the HANA Enterprise Cloud, some on-premise, some in some cases all in the managed cloud as a service of HANA Enterprise Cloud. But it's a really interesting scenario, and really the sky's the limit in terms of the types of customization and variations that you can have of both cloud and premise-based solutions for HEC. So what are we doing for the future? Where are we going when it comes to cloud? So we want to adopt additional platforms that we support for infrastructure as a cloud. So for example, we want to support Microsoft Azure for the BI platform, even for HANA. So we're looking at ways to do that. We want to facilitate management of the BI platform on HANA Enterprise Cloud. So today, you can run BI4 on the HANA Enterprise Cloud, but we want to continue to make it easier to manage for our customers to manage that BI platform as it exists on HANA Enterprise Cloud. We want to do more embedded reporting and analytics with the HANA Cloud Platform. We want to embed BI content in cloud applications like Ariba and SuccessFactors and JAM and other cloud-based services that SAP continues to build, because SAP is becoming a primary cloud delivery company. We are extremely focused on cloud. We recognize that cloud is the platform of the future, and so we will continue to move in that direction, and BI needs to make sure it's part of that. And then lastly, we'll continue to expand SAP Lumira Cloud with additional user-driven features that you're familiar today with Lumira Desktop and Lumira Server, and really making sure that Lumira Cloud is not just a great solution for our small and medium-sized businesses and lines of businesses, but making sure that it has the security, administrative features, and lifecycle management capabilities that are really important for a trusted data discovery scenario in an enterprise environment for large enterprises and those lines of businesses. So that's what we're doing for future in the cloud. So with that, let's go to our next poll question, and that is the following. So which 3 general improvements in Lumira do you see as being most important to have it be successful in your organization? Now, I recognize that there is a fairly diverse group of an audience here, from IT to designers to decision makers and analysts. But again, based upon your perspective, what are the 3 general improvements in Lumira that you think need to happen to make it really successful as a trusted data discovery solution in your organization? So I'll give you a few seconds there to choose your 3 options. I'm going to then move to the next. So what do we have here? Okay, this is good. I'm impressed that there is a top 3 that comes to the list generally from the audience. So better and more control of visualizations. Hallelujah. Yeah, I totally agree. Lower cost server option for on-premise web-based delivery. Good. Hopefully we're on the right track there for, oh, no, wait, I was scroll down to the bottom. This is where we're really looking. So almost 60%, 66% of you want better interoperability with the other BI clients, like Design Studio, Webby, Chris Reports. Interesting, okay? You want more and better agile data preparation, combining cleansing, augmenting, and manipulating. Is that an N? That looks like an H in there. Manipulating data. Okay, interesting. So better interoperability, better agile data preparation, and then it looks like a close third would be better support of BW-BEX queries or better control of visualizations. Okay, good. All right, then I think, are we doing a demo next, Greg, or are we doing some questions?
I think we're going to do the demo next.
All right. Larry, you're up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Greg. All right, so in this last demo here, we're going to do a short demonstration of Lumira Cloud. So we are going to get started by logging into Lumira Cloud. You can access this at cloud.saplumira.com. And accounts are free, actually. So this is a great way if you just want to get familiar with Lumira and Lumira Server. You can download Lumira Desktop Personal Edition for free, and you can create a free cloud account, and you can build some visualizations and share them with your colleagues. So let's get started here. Okay, so after I log into my Lumira Cloud account, you can see here that my colleague Christina has created a milk sales overview. She actually has a very successful dairy farm in Manitoba. That's also very fictional. So we'll start by looking at this great infographic that Christina has created to manage and track the state of her dairy business. So we're going to log into the system, and we're going to view this infographic. So right at the start of the conversation, we heard Steve Lucas talk about infographics. So this is what he's talking about. This is just a way of building a dashboard that is very visual and tells a story with data. So you can see, I'm just going to scroll through this here. You can see it starts off with a very eye-catching photo, and you're able to focus in on a couple of key points here. For example, the growth in June profit compared to May, the actual profit amount. Now this is not text, this is actually tied to data here, that number. So no one went and typed that in. And we're going to scroll down some more and take a look at some of the other information in this infographic. This section talks about our top 5 customers, including our #1 customer, Grocery Depot. So let's get a little bit more info about Grocery Depot and the kind of packaging that they sell the most of. So you can see here that the Tetra Pak is leading the way, with plastic second and glass third. And you can see with an infographic, you can take a visualization, a custom visualization. You can actually scale it according to the amount of data that you've got there. So that makes for very appealing graphics and visualizations. And we've used this technique again here on the bottom to show the different packaging types. So this saves me from having to display a legend on the chart. You can see here the Tetra Pak volume and plastic and glass volume. And for those of you that would rather just see the raw data, we can always just put a crosstab, and that's what we've done on the second page of this chart. So here's a crosstab showing the exact same data that we were looking at before. So no matter how you want to consume your data, you can put it in on an infographic and then share it with your information consumers and analysts on Lumira Cloud. The other cool thing about Lumira Cloud is the ability to edit these online. You don't have to go back to Lumira Desktop to make a little change to the dashboard design. So up here in the top right, there's a small little edit button. If you click on that, then you can drop into edit mode if you have the right permissions. So now we're able to edit this, and you can see we're back to having the Visualize and the Compose tab like we did in Lumira Desktop. So now we can go and make some minor modifications to this infographic. Let's say, for example, I wanted to change the bar chart style here. For example, I wanted to make it more triangular and less rectangular. I can click on the bar, and then I can go to the visualization properties down here in the bottom right and change the bar style to a more triangular bar. And then I can make that change for each of the 2 different bars in the visualization. And there, that minor little change is done. There's some other capabilities here on the left-hand side that I can use to customize this infographic. I can add some custom text, some custom pictures. I can choose from some pictograms as well. And pictograms is where things get really interesting, and this is where you can choose an appropriate pictogram and scale that and replace a standard bar and a bar chart with, for example, a picture of a Tetra Pak or a picture of a person, just to better communicate your story using data. And on the next section here, we're going to drop into the Visualize tab. So we started off in the Compose tab, but we can also create our own visualizations in Lumira Cloud. So I'm still not in the desktop. I'm just editing this online. So for example, if I wanted to take this visualization and wanted to update it for a different province, I can change the filter on this visualization really easily. Just click on the filter, change the province that I want to filter on, and then we can update that visualization, and then finally save this as a new infographic that's focused on British Columbia. And then the last part of the demo, I'm going to show how we can share these customized infographics. So within Lumira Cloud, we've got the ability to share these elements. So when I'm done my edits, I can then share them by sharing a link and entering an email address. It's all very straightforward. And that is the last slide of my demo. I'll turn things back to Greg.
Thank you, Blair.
Open things up for Q&A.
Yeah, it's definitely time for a few more questions here. So let me grab a few more out of the list. Okay. What are SAP plans to continue delivering products that are more geared to SAP BW and SAP BEX semantic layer and security?
Good one. Do you want to take that, Blair?
Yeah, sure. I can take that one. So yeah, the BW world is very dynamic right now. There's a lot of change going on with the effect of HANA. So there's a lot of convergence going on itself between BW and HANA, and over time, a lot of this functionality is the functionality in BW is being pulled down deeper into the HANA platform. But regardless what your HANA strategy is, we've got a very strong market-leading set of solutions to access BW and BEX queries. So we have focused on from the data level up, starting with leveraging our proprietary data access method called BICS, or BI Consumer Services. And that's a proprietary interface for accessing BW data. It's optimized. It bypasses some of the extra steps that the old MDX interface had to use. And the other benefit is that it does not require you to create a universe. So we've got very performant, very streamlined access to BW and BEX data. As we look forward into the roadmap, building on that strong base, we see some plans for additional improvements in the areas of prompting, because we want to make prompting consistent and strong across the product stack. So, for example, things like manual entry of prompt values in tools like Chris Reports and Webby. Those are things that are on the roadmap. And other things that are on the roadmap to reduce the overall cost of ownership for BW is we want to be able to allow customers to change their BW password from the BI Launchpad. That may not sound like a big deal until you realize that today you can only do it through the SAP GUI. So that means from an IT perspective, you actually have to deploy the SAP GUI in order to change passwords. So there's things like that we're doing to really simplify the deployment for the BW space. And at a higher strategic level, we've made some tough but necessary calls with respect to product strategy in terms of investment in new products like Design Studio and Analysis Office. And these are net new products that are really built from the ground up to be optimized for consuming hierarchical data that comes from BW. So whether you're interested in using BW or using HANA, I think we've got a great story there. Anything you want to add to that, Ty?
No, I think that was great.
All right, let's jump to one from Twitter. Dallas Marks wants to know, will universe connectivity to all non-Webby tools, including SAP Lumira, be improved in 2015?
Yes, I would actually, even before 2015, we continue to improve the BI tools' use of universes, again, because the majority of the world's data is not in a HANA or BW environment. So examples of this include we're working on putting the query panel in Lumira, as an example. We continue to expand the Design Studio's support of the universe data access as well. So again, in general, the universe semantic layer is a primary semantic layer that we have to be a first-class, have all of our BI tools treated as a first-class semantic layer.
Okay, next question. What is the future of SAP BusinessObjects Explorer? Is it safe to deploy it while planning on upgrading to BusinessObjects BI 4.1 and beyond?
I can take that one if you like. Yes, the answer is yes. If you are using Explorer today, continue to use it with your users tomorrow. We're seeing some amazing use cases where people have previously deployed tens of thousands of reports. They have set up Explorer as they've gone through our 4.1 migration to say, hey, here's the data that we have in the organization. Play with it and tell us how many reports you need. And the business has come back and said, we need less than 10. So Explorer is a great solution for enabling end users to self-serve, invest in it, get your users using it, and we'll look to bring those Explorer capabilities into Lumira as we move forward.
All right, thank you, Jane. I see we have a little less than 10 minutes left here. I want to take just a quick note and see, operator, could you open the line and see if there's anyone on the phone that would like to ask a question live?
Certainly. And for our phone audience, if you would like to ask a question, please signal by pressing *1 on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. A voice prompt on the phone line will indicate when your line is open. Please state your name before posing your question. And again, press *1 if you would like to ask a question. And we'll pause for just a moment.
So Greg, while we wait, so I saw one question that came over Twitter around the pricing and licensing, and it was someone who has a BW HANA license and was asking, what would they need to be able to use Lumira Server. So if you're on the BI Suite today, we've included a runtime license of HANA with the BI Suite license. So you can use your BW for a HANA license for BW on HANA, and then use the free runtime license of HANA that comes with BI Suite to run Lumira Server. So that's one way that you could do it. If you're wanting to bring in data from other sources as well as BW and set up a separate data mart in HANA, then that's when you'd move to a full use HANA license. So there's a couple of options there depending on what you're doing.
And we'll take our first question from the phone. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
This is Mark Rawson from Snowish PUD. I'm interested in what you're doing around Esri mapping technology and the integration with the Lumira suite.
Sure, I can take that. This is Ty. So Esri is clearly the industry-leading geospatial technology, and we've started that integration with Lumira, both desktop and cloud and server and mobile. we're looking at additional mapping layers from Esri to use with Lumira, as well as looking at opportunities to have Esri be a base mapping technology as well. And then thirdly, right now the integration that we have with Esri is with the ArcGIS cloud server, but we recognize that there are opportunities to leverage the on-premise ArcGIS capabilities as well. So we have a number of areas that we're working and discussing with Esri on how we want to advance our Esri integration with Lumira. And it's not just with Lumira, but our partnership with Esri is for all of our analytics capabilities, including HANA directly, as well as Design Studio and Web Intelligence and the BI suite in general.
Yeah, and today there's an SDK in Lumira that you can use to bring that Esri content right into Lumira, into your stories.
Thank you.
And we'll take our next phone question. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Chandra Kutamasu and I work for Rexnord. I have a question on installation for Lumira. Does Lumira go on top of the BI suite server, or does it need to have another server, dedicated server?
So today, if you have an existing HANA environment, you can deploy Lumira server on that HANA platform. You do need HANA for Lumira server today. Optionally, you can deploy the add-on to an existing BI 4.1 platform as well.
And then if you don't have HANA, then your other option is you can start with Lumira Desktop and allow analysts to create visualizations, and then those can be shared via Lumira Cloud. So that's the other option there.
Okay, thank you.
And we have no additional phone questions at this time.
All right, thank you, operator. So with that then?
Actually, we just had one more. Would you like to take that question?
Sure, let's take it.
Hi.
Caller.
Hi, this is Prashant. This is more related to the question that was asked just now. So if we have a BI suite without which is supported on SQL and not on HANA, so we install the Lumira Desktop, and you just mentioned that you can share it on the cloud. So how that licensing works?
Yes, if you have BI Suite, you get Lumira Desktop as part of your BI Suite license, so you'll have those licenses already. If you don't have the BI Suite license and you've purchased BI on an a la carte basis, you can just purchase Lumira Desktop to get started there. And then to start, we offer a free cloud space that you can start to get those visualizations published. And then as that grows and you need more data, you can add on additional data from there. So there's a couple of options for you there. And then
okay.
Yep. Excellent.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
All right, thank you, Jane. Thank you, operator. We are just about out of time, so Jane, if you could be so kind as to review the final bit of where people could get more information.
Great, thanks so much, Greg. And there's a couple of different places you can go to find out more. If you're using BusinessObjects BI today and you're looking to move to the latest release that Ty talked about, which is BI 4.1, we've got some great resources on sapbusinessobjectsbi.com, and that includes sizing guides and a whole range of great resources to help you out there. The second piece, if you're interested in Lumira, you can get started today. You can go to saplumira.com. You can download a free desktop version of Lumira Desktop that will work with your Excel files and CSV files, or also take advantage of a trial license that has the full capabilities to access any data. And then on the predictive topic, which we didn't talk about too much today, we talked about the integration with Lumira, but we also have a set of solutions there under the name Infinite Insight that you can learn more about what we're doing there and how we can take advanced analytics capabilities to a broader set of users within your organization. And then I really wanted to thank everyone sincerely for taking the time out today to spend with us and for all of your great questions. And we really want this to be the start of the conversation. So we'll all be on Twitter, so if you've got additional questions, please feel free to send them to us, and we'll answer those online. And then we'll also, all the questions that have been submitted today, we'll create an FAQ and get that published out to you as well. And so with that, Greg, I'll hand back to you to wrap up the call.
Thanks again so much for everybody for taking your time out again today to listen to this announcement, and thank you to SAP for asking me to moderate this event for us today. It definitely is an honor for me, and appreciate everyone's time. You will be getting an email shortly within the next day or two that will have a link to the replay for this event too, so that is forthcoming, and it will have links to all the content they have and with the questions and answers as well. So with that, I'd like to wrap things up. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude today's conference. We thank you for your participation.